Here we are. I have a hot press watercolor paper, a palette, which is just a takeout container top, my acrylic gouache paints. I pulled some of the colors I knew I was going to be using. And then I have my markers close by and some extra paintbrushes that I probably won't ever touch. And there's a hairpin too. They're everywhere. So first I do a pencil drawing, and the pencil drawing, if I put the paint on light enough, I can see the lines through the paint and I have a good map of where to draw the black line. But for this one, I laid on the paint too thick, so I had no sort of map on to how to draw his face, so it didn't wind up looking that much like him. So I was really thinking about color in this painting a lot because he had this yellow and blue shirt, and I thought, oh man, there's so much green in this scene that I'm not gonna like it unless I make it really warm. So that's what I was trying to do with the color here. So besides the green, everything is super warm, and the blue. The grass wasn't actually that color, it was probably bright green, but making it yellow warmed the whole thing up more. So I do the black line as the very last thing. You can see when the paint is dry and you'll know when you can draw on it. Sometimes if I mess up, like the paint is still wet and I try to draw a black line on it and it just won't stick. So you have to wait till it's completely dry before you can draw on top of the paint. But you can tell and you can touch it. So about acrylic gouache, because I've had a lot of questions about them, it's kind of like gouache and it's kind of like acrylic paint. It's a mix of the two, and I like them so much because you can lay it on really thick and it could look like acrylic and be like almost chunky on there. And then if you want, you can add so much water and make it really thin that it's like watercolor. And I mean, that's with any gouache, but I think they're much thicker than, let's say, Winsor Newton gouache. Acrylic gouache feels like heavier than Winsor Newton gouache and doesn't re-wetten the way Winsor Newton gouache re-wettens when you add water to it again. I love these paints. I used to only use Winsor Newton gouache, which is sort of a standard for most people. But then Leah Gorin was using these acrylic gouaches and I tried them one day and then I never went back. It's also because they're really flat and there's no shine. And there's so many colors that you don't really have to mix colors. All of their colors are really nice. You do wind up mixing them a little bit, but for the most part you're already there and you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to make the perfect olive green because an olive green exists, and then you're like, oh, I like this olive green, but I'll just add a little yellow to it so it's like a little bit warmer. So that's mostly how I'm working. Shaina walked by this pizza store and thought I would love to paint this guy, so she interviewed him for our book and took this photo for me. And she knows me well enough to know how to take the photo, which I like straight on and with a lot of stuff in the picture. So I didn't actually meet this guy or take this picture. So I don't know anything about him, so I don't know if I'm getting his personality or his likeness that well. But I still enjoy doing it because there's so many fun details like pizzas and the boxes. I guess I try to do the big color first, like the background is beige and the shelf is gray, and then I go and do all the details after and build it up by adding and adding and adding on top. I'm only using one brush pretty much the whole way through. And I use like a medium round brush. it's got a point enough that I can get small areas, and it's thick enough that if I want to do a big area of color, I can paint it in pretty fast. I guess I'm just lazy in that I don't switch out brushes that often. If I really want tiny detail, that's when the markers come in. I have some really tiny skinny brushes and I should use them, and I just forget to use them a lot. So it's a one brush operation. My paintings are always messy because, I don't know, I'm a messy person, but also because I touch it and I hold the pen and paintbrush really weird. I've always have. And so the bottom of my hand always rubs against this paper and sometimes smudges it. It's all part of making it look handmade. Bye.